And welcome, Success Grade Nation, to this episode of the Success Grade podcast. In this episode, I am talking with Sean Tepper about marketing tips that actually work for B2C business, SaaS. So, see, I made a mistake there. So
You're okay.
that's cool. So Sean is the founder and CEO of Tykr, a software that helps people manage their own investment with confidence. He originally created Tykr as an Excel sheet in 2016 to save time with investing. After 4 years, he made consistent returns ranging between 15 to 50% per year. In 2019, he started sharing his Excel sheet with other investors, and everyone asked, when are you going to turn this into a software to share it with others? Tykr took about 1 year to build and officially went live in 2020. Today, Tykr has over 8,000 customers in over 50 countries. So this is, I would say, an amazing accomplishment. Sean, welcome to the Success Secret podcast.
Hussein, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Awesome to have you here. So, first of all, I want to know, because this is a Success Secret podcast, you have built a company from basically an Excel sheet. So that's amazing. But first, I want to know, what is success to you?
Serving the customer. If the customer's happy, I'm happy.
Cool, cool. So awesome. Do you have other misconception about success and other people talk about that?
I think at a younger age, I'm over 40 now, and I started to see a shift probably in my younger 30s, but success in your 20s was much different. It was having a house and having a new car and the superficial stuff. But um, as you get older, that stuff really, it doesn't really matter. Like it's nice to have, it's not a need to have. And you kind of reset your, why are you here type mentality. And I had to remind myself, like, I'm here to provide value to others. I can either go work for somebody and do it that way, or my dream has always been to be an entrepreneur and create a business. And then that way you kind of have you can help a lot more people, in my opinion. And at the same time, you don't see a ceiling. You like if you get a scalable business, you can kind of go to the moon. So I've had quite a few failures along the way over the last 20 years, and Tykr happens to be one that it so far it's working.
Well, hopefully it will continue to work for the long haul as it can be, or for what you have planned for it. So now, can you go back and take us back to 2016 when this Excel sheet started with you? Why an Excel sheet? It was the only thing that you have to work with. What happened there? Can
Sure.
you give us the story?
Absolutely. So I'll go back just a little further in time to give you and your audience a little more context. So I was building a business through the 2000s. It was 2006 to 2010. It was an agency. So we were building websites, building software, doing a lot of work with small and mid-sized businesses. And it was not a scalable business. And I learned that the hard way. It was the recession, 08, 09, and I didn't make any money. But learned a lot. I learned a lot about different types of business models. We served, for context there, we served like restaurants and manufacturing companies and hair salons and I think an automotive detailing shop. And then we did serve a few SaaS businesses, as you mentioned earlier, the software as a service, SaaS. And then a few e-commerce companies. I was like, okay, so SaaS is like in my opinion, top of the food chain, very scalable business. So anyway, 2010 hit, we went through a merger, a much larger company came to me and said, hey, we want your business to merge with us. And I was like, yes, please. I needed to make a change because I was kind of at a dead end with my business. I couldn't, it was again, service business, can't scale it. If anybody in your audience has a service business, that's fine, but do it because you love it. Do set expectations. You kind of will have revenue limitations along the way. But anyway, went through the merger. At that point, I wanted to create a SaaS business, didn't have any great ideas. So I did corporate consulting. I worked with companies like Kohler and GE, two really good companies. A few other companies along the way. I planned to do that for 2 years. That turned into 12 years.
That
Sometimes things take a
happens.
little longer than expected.
Yeah.
But this was around 2010 or 11. I started getting into investing. And what I did was I got into what's called angel investing or investing in private companies. I would invest in like new startups. I'd either invest time or money. And in most cases, I lost money. I did make some money, but it was kind of a break even journey over 5 years. And that was when it came to 2015 or 16. I was like, hey, I got to do this smarter. I could be swinging for the fences on private businesses for 20 years and not make any money here. So I turned my attention to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger.
Mm.
And I knew that these guys were able to beat the market. The question is how? Because I know they're not gambling men. They don't gamble. They don't use feelings or emotions when they invest in stocks. So I was like, okay, so they're probably starting with some sort of logic. And I knew that logic was math. So what I did is in my background, so you know, is primarily in tech, project management. Excel sheets are kind of your best friend when you're in project management. So I'm like, okay, so let's start figuring out the math. And I went down the YouTube rabbit hole. I read a lot of books. There's a lot of fluff out there, but thanks to Warren Buffett and another guy by the name of Phil Town, some of the material I was able to get, I put into Excel, kind of made my own flavor around it, and then created a point system from 0 to 100. Higher the score, the safer the investment. And it would take me about 10 minutes to analyze one stock. And essentially, what I'm doing is pulling data from the financial statements. So, you entrepreneurs out there, you know, you've got a income statement, cash flow statement, and balance sheet attached to your business. In public companies, it's like that's all open source. You can read that. So I'm like, okay, great. I would go to Yahoo Finance or MarketWatch and pull it over, copy, paste over to this Excel sheet. And after 10 minutes, I would know, is this stock truly a good investment or not? And yeah, like you said earlier, I was able to generate returns between 15 and 50%. Fast forward to today as you kind of walk through the audience. But yeah, it took a year to build the first version, went live in 2020, and now we're 3.5 years old. And as you mentioned, we've got about 8,000 customers. So that Excel sheet, it was kind of clunky, but there were a lot of columns in it. And yeah, I knew someday I'm like, I gotta make a software of this because this is so manual. This is killing me. It took me a half hour to do three stocks.
But that's very interesting. Like you went to people like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, who are like behemoth in that field,
Yeah.
and you took what's actually information that's available to all and put it in a way that is giving a result that could be, let's say, more likely to achieve what is it needs to achieve, which is profit.
Right on. And to give you a little more detail there, when I was creating this Excel sheet, I really had two different business models, two options. I could go create a wealth management firm. I could get the certifications and serve people in the US. But I found with that model, when you're a wealth advisor or financial planner, which we do have advisors that use our tool, their job is not to build your wealth, it's to protect it. So they're not going to pick individual stocks. They're not going to like look at a Tesla and look at an Apple or Microsoft and know how those businesses run inside and out because that's not their job. Their job is to build relationships and bring people to their firm and then protect their money. They're very good at that. So I always tell people if you're in a position where you're nearing financial independence or retirement, or maybe you sold a business or sold real estate or inherited capital from a loved one that maybe, passed away, definitely go to an advisor because they'll protect it. We, on the other hand, we're not focused on wealth protection mode. You can use us for that because we have ETFs in Tykr, but if and most people they are still working and a lot of people feel this way, they feel like they're behind the eight ball. They don't have enough money saved up. They don't have enough investments. Most people feel that way. And if any of your listeners feel that way, don't feel bad. You're not alone. Now the question is, how do you get ahead? Well, the easiest way to do that is make money work for you. And that's what Tykr's all about. We want people getting into individual stocks, really strong value stocks, and that's where you get those returns that can be 15 to 50% per year, which is usually that's my average. It's actually closer to the 50%. And a lot of our customers they do see market beating returns because this is key. They don't put themselves into a whole bunch of ETFs or like 50 stocks. You want about 10 to 15 stocks focused portfolio and really good businesses. And that's where people can make up ground. They can get ahead of it. And that's a big part of my why is I want people to feel like they're making up ground, they can get ahead, they can get back on track with their financial goals.
Yeah, but like going back a little bit, what I understood is that building a business, building a SaaS, is not that easy. Like there are
No.
a lot of things, and what I understood from you, it takes like some kind of guts to build this type of business, because as much as it could be profitable, right? But there are a lot of changing factors maybe in that.
Yeah, so let's dive in. I talked enough about the investment side. Let's get into the building the business. So, yeah, Tykr is a SaaS, and here's some quick tips for your audience. Like when you're building a SaaS business, it can be a lot of work from a software engineering standpoint, which is a lot of money. So what you want to do is, and I didn't do this, but I recommend doing this, is use a platform like Figma. It's a design platform and you can create clickable prototypes. And what you want to do is you want to be showing these prototypes to your like potential customers, people who they're looking for help and you want to get their feedback. So what I did is I kind of went to market with what's called an MVP, minimum viable product. I invested, I'm going to be fully transparent here. I probably invested about $30,000 of my own money to create the prototype. And it took about 6 months to get my first paying customer thereafter. So I kind of knew that it would take some time. But your goal is when you build a SaaS, it's not to make money right away. What you want to do is you want to either get this prototype out with Figma or get a minimum viable product out software and get feedback really fast. You want to go to what I did was I went to about 100 people, or my goal was 100. I probably really got to about 50. But I said, I want you to use the tool and then I want your feedback really fast. Don't wait like weeks or months. I want to know right away, like, what do you like? What don't you like? What can we do better? Because when you build a SaaS, you may think like your idea is the idea. You got to throw that notion out the window. You got to realize that your idea probably isn't going to be the thing. You got to talk to your customers and they will kind of shape what it should be because you're solving problems for them. So Tykr really it went through a lot of transformations over the years, but it's really leaning on your customers key.
That's very important. Also, like I would say, maybe the competition it could be high in that field. Like these two things could be very determined, and also like what we think is going to be a profitable business, and it will take time and effort and spending time with that and years instead of actually knowing as fast as you can, like in the first 3 months or 6 months, that is this the let's say the market wants. Because if this is
Mhm.
something that the market does not want or it does not solve certain problems, they won't actually go and subscribe or see what it is. Like what you build with Ticker, like is something that is getting people an easy solution to a problem that's a lot of people thinking about. Like I'm sure that there's a lot of people that invested in stocks and companies, and most of them have lost the money. So
Yeah, there's
that's an
yeah.
issue.
Yeah, there are
That's a
tools out
solution.
there. Yeah, you're right. Like you have to do some market analysis and you don't want to be in like analysis paralysis mode for years. It's like you want to time box it. What I mean by that is create a deadline of like, okay, so I'm going to research. I have an idea, but I'm going to research the market and use Excel and write down every competitor over 3 months and compare everything, compare pricing to each, what the copy is on the homepage, what their service offering is, like what features are within. And that way you'll get a really good side-by-side comparison from one business to the next over, again, 3 months. And then you should have a good idea like, hey, is this something I want to move forward with? Or should I throw it aside and go think of another idea? But I
Mm.
will say this. There are people that they may run into like a situation where I have some ideas, they'll do some homework and they'll think, oh, that's probably not a good idea. There's too many people in the market. I will always say this, there will always be a better mousetrap. When you look at, for example, phones, when you look at TVs, when you look at computers, we could still be using the same computer from 1995. I had some Acer that, wasn't anything compared to the Mac I'm using today, but there's always iteration. So when you execute on a software, think about how you can make your experience better. And I'll give you some quick tips here. Is like, let's say the competitive platforms require you to get from point A to point Z with like 5 clicks. How can you do it in 4 or 3? And Apple is very good at that. They reduce the amount of clicks to get from one point to another. And if you can do little user-friendly things like that, the intrinsic value is automatically higher, but you got to do it in a few places. Customers see that. They don't point it out, but they'll feel like, oh, this is a lot easier. So you think about efficiency tweaks like that can just be enough. You could literally have the same price, similar product, but just a little easier. You got yourself a viable business.
Yeah, so the important thing is to get people from point A to point B to from A to Z like as quickly as possible. You do not want
Yep.
them to go back and forth. Whether you are starting your business and you want to build it fast, you want to get the feedbacks as quick as possible. That's the same way as the
Yep.
same thing as for the customer. They want to get the results as quickly as possible. They do not want to wait because eventually people, when they buy anything, a product or a service, they buy the resolution for it. They don't like actually to go through the steps with that product. So they are looking for the end result of that. So do you want to make that the easiest, as easy as possible?
100%. You got it.
Exactly, exactly. So now, from the people who you work with, did you see some kind of setbacks? Did you think this is going to actually succeed? Did you have some doubts? Like, how did things go in your head in the first, for example, like 6 months? I think you said like the first customer you got in 3 or 6 months or so. So how
Yeah.
did the games play into your own head as a business, as an entrepreneur that wanted to launch this business?
A mindset is really important. I'll kind of give you the ebbs and flows, the peaks and valleys here. So, to give you context, I was doing project management for about 12 years, and I was kind of I was a little upset at myself because I was telling myself I should have been executing on a SaaS business sooner. And I'm like, Sean, what are you doing? You're wasting opportunity cost. You are wasting time. You are wasting your life away. And I can be harsh on myself, but you need to move forward on something. It is now or never. And that was my mentality. So I gained enough experience with big businesses, like how do they market, how do they sell, how do they operate, and a lot of nuances in between. So I knew I had the capabilities to build a SaaS, a global SaaS, but it just wasn't executing. And that's when I kind of found like this Excel sheet of solving problems. I'm like, this is it. This is the thing. So when I moved forward and invested the 30,000, started moving, there was no apprehension. I was at a point in my life where I'm like, this is do or die. I am doing this. I am not going back to corporate world. I am not this. I'm moving forward. And there's Mark Cuban, there's other people have talked about this too, is you don't want a plan B. There is no plan B. This is the plan, and you're moving forward. This is it. And that was my mentality. However, fast forward to 2023, it was actually summer. We're getting more customers, but we were selling a lot of lifetime deals, and it was causing issues to the business because we're wanting to continue to serve our customers. However, lifetime deals are not reoccurring revenue. We hit what I would call a convergence point. There are lifetime deal platforms out there that we use, just to be transparent, are AppSumo and Stack Social. And you hit a point where, okay, your revenues are declining from the lifetime deals. However, your costs are skyrocketing. So they hit what I call a convergence point. And we almost went out of business in 2023. It was actually summer. And I was pretty worried because I'm like, how do I keep this business alive, still serve customers? Because we had probably about 8,000 at the time. We're pretty close to 9,000 as we speak. And I'm like, how do I keep this alive? How do I get more revenue? And how do I not disappoint my team and my customers all at the same time? So I mean, I lost sleep, weeks of sleep. And the strategy was, okay, so what costs can we cut that are non-essential? Like if
Mm,
it's a subscription platform or other tools in the business, what costs can we reduce regarding labor? Like, okay, we got to cut some labor costs back. We got to dial everything back just a little bit. And then at the same time, I had to hustle nonstop on how do we create another revenue stream in the business, which is we added courses. So we use Teachable for courses, and that our courses were enough to keep the business alive through the end of 2023. We sell investing courses such as stock investing for beginners, which retails at $1,000, but we're running deals a few times a year for 50% off. So if anybody's interested in that, just join our platform. You'll get emails on that. But anyway, yeah, we were able to make some money there, keep it alive. And then we gradually started getting more traction, organic growth from YouTube. I've been trying to learn as much from YouTube. And the reason I'm using YouTube because a lot of people who are into retail investing, they're investing in stocks or crypto, they're usually learning about stock investing on YouTube. So what we do is we do 1 to 2 long videos per week, and then we do 1 to 2 short videos per week. And a short video are those vertical versions that go on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and TikTok. So we record one or a 1 minute video and put it on all four. It's kind of nice. And with that, we have been getting organic growth. So we're getting those subscriptions. So which is great. It's been a heck of a journey, but because of the courses, because of YouTube, that has kept this business alive and really, really, and this is a lesson learned for entrepreneurs, be very careful with two things. One would be your operating costs, try to keep everything as low as possible. And two, be very careful when you list your business on AppSumo or Stack Social. It's a great way to get a lot of customers in, but it's not reoccurring revenue. It can be very harmful to a business if you're not prepared.
Yeah. So two things. First of all, I want to go back to that you invested initially 30,000. So a personal question, is that something that you already have saved or something that you have already taken as a loan or something like that? Because you talk about Mark Cuban, and you should not have a plan B. So
Yeah.
that's a big risk.
Yep. So here's what I did. And you like, I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs through the years. When I listen to other entrepreneurs starting businesses, especially SaaS, they usually have some kind of service component they're doing first, like an agency or consulting. So I had, excuse me, my corporate consulting, which is one revenue stream, and that those were always a W-2 in the States. It's like a normal employee. Except when you do corporate contracting, they don't give you benefits and they don't give you a 401k. And I'm like, I don't need that. I'm married, so I've got health insurance. And two, I do my own investing. I don't need a 401k. Like my investing strategy outpaces a 401k by miles. It's just, and anybody who uses Tykr can do the same. So I'm like, I'm good there. But I also would do, and I still do a little bit, not too much, but small and mid-sized businesses, some large businesses, they'll come to me for consulting advice or maybe smaller projects, whether guidance on how to build software, and I'll charge a few $100 to a few $1,000. And I always did that on the side in parallel to corporate consulting. So I had built up some money, about $35,000 just sitting in an LLC account, a separate account. So I knew like at some point this will be used for probably starting a SaaS.
Mm.
So that was helpful in the beginning. And I recommend any entrepreneur out there always kind of keep your kind of some kind of service or consulting business, keep that line of stream open. Don't close that door because it's nice to have some extra cash.
Yeah, definitely. We always need some kind of cash flow, always. Like
Hmm.
now, what happened with your business? Now you have certain marketing strategies, like in general. Like you talked about AppSumo, and I know AppSumo. It's a great website, it's a great platform. But what you said is also these kind of websites offer like lifetime deals, which is can be good for getting a lot of customers, but they are basically getting it for a cheaper price.
Yeah.
So, so what are the other strategies that actually you have for the whole business aside from these two, which is can also be good for, let's say, the beginning stage of the SaaS or any business in general also can be beneficial for that. And when you are starting to look at the business that you want it to be like 5, 10, 50 million in the
Yeah.
next coming years, because like as I mentioned, AppSumo is kind of limited for the lifetime
Yep.
deals and is limited. But also, I like what you did is like you have this kind of e-learning type of thing for courses, which is tied to the business.
Yep.
But why did you have thought to offer the courses for money, not for example for free, and for example to learn for free, and maybe they will have money to invest with you in the software, for example. I'm just saying. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So the courses, because they are like, for example, the first course, Stock Investing for Beginners, is about 60 videos.
Mm,
And I'm not going to include that within for free. That's only for people who really want to go a step further. And the course is like, if you take a course, you're going to get a little more hand-holding there. So it's not just a software Tykr. You're going to get my time. Like if you want to jump on a Zoom call or you have any questions, like you get that. Like, but keep in mind that's me and I can't as a human being, and I recommend anybody out there, you can give away a product for free, but never give away your service, your time for free. We are not slaves. We are people providing value to others, and we should be compensated for that. So, and I had a few people say, hey, services should be free. And I'm like, my dentist isn't free, right? My roofer, I got to get a new roof. He's not free, right? My painter, he's not free. Like you get the point. But um, to take a step back, AppSumo or any other lifetime deal out there should only be used temporarily. So we're going to be cutting off those revenue streams very shortly here, but the purpose is financial injection to really get momentum and to get feedback really fast. If you can get a larger data set of people giving you feedback, that's even better. And I'll keep that really quick and we'll talk about other marketing strategies. So you want to be talking to when you're somebody building a business, you want to be the product owner. You will always be the product owner. Like for example, Mark Zuckerberg is the product owner of Facebook. Elon Musk is the product owner of Tesla. The designs, how the platforms work, how the tools work, it runs through the product owner. So you will always be that. So you get to take ownership, and you should be talking about 3 people per week on Zoom, finding out the pain points. And if you ever read the book Mom Test, it's a great book about asking questions because you never want to ask people, do you like my software? You want to ask questions such as what software do you use and why do you like it? Why do you use it? Why do you pay for it? So it kind of takes emotion out of the equation. Um, so let's dive into marketing here a little bit. So as you saw like AppSumo, Stack Social are great for getting some momentum. YouTube has been really good for our model because we're B2C. We want to bring a lot of consumers into the platform. We're a free platform, free trial, no credit card, 14 days. So we want people getting in, test drive the car, if you will. And if you like it, then you can add your credit card. And then we're actually $14.99 a month or $99 a year, which is about 3 months free. We also have parity pricing built in. And what I mean by that is like you're in Jordan. Let's say we got customers in, it could be India. You got customers in Germany. You're going to see the pricing for the platform in your currency, and it's going to have what I would call the Netflix or Big Mac index applied to it. So the prices will be adjusted.
mm,
So it makes it easier for people, especially in India. It's not a one-to-one conversion of rupee to dollar. It's different. So it'll be a lot less if you go through India. But anyway, we have those in place for the platform. And then with marketing, what we do, third strategy would be affiliates. So we use or build connections with affiliates, such as influencers on YouTube, bloggers, other financial businesses. And through our payments platform, which is Paddle, we use a platform called Redditus. And Redditus is an affiliate marketing program. We pay like 30% commission. So for example, a YouTube influencer could come to Tykr and be like, hey, I want to promote Tykr and I want to be compensated ongoing. And we're like, absolutely. Just sign up here on Redditus. You get a unique link. And whenever you share that, when reoccurring subscribers come in, they are paid like they're making money not just once. We want our affiliates compensated for the long term. So as long as you're making your customers happy, we're happy. So we do pay ongoing 30% commission. So I recommend to anybody out there building a SaaS, you want an affiliate marketing platform built in. So to kind of hit the top ones, you got AppSumo, Stack Social, YouTube, affiliates. And the big play, because you alluded to this, and I will stop talking. Where can Tykr, or how is Tykr going to get to, a multi-million dollar business? Let's say it's a 50 million or $100 million business. It's not through paid advertising. It's not Facebook. It's not Google Ads. A lot of small business owners will think that's how you grow, but that's not how big businesses grow. Big businesses grow through channel partners. So our channel partner we've identified would be brokers. A broker such as Robinhood or Interactive Brokers is a global broker. They have millions of retail investors. And what we want to do is partner up with them and help their customers make more transactions. And if we can do that, if we can show them we're increasing money for them, the broker would send us what could be potentially millions of people overnight. That's how you grow really fast. And that's how big businesses grow is think about your biggest opportunity and to get in front of a huge audience in like one day. Like that's the way to do it is channel partnerships.
Hmm. That's amazing. Like I like that you you mentioned at first like give a product for free but never a service.
Right.
So that's like it's appreciated that eventually when you are helping other people with your own time, that's valuable. So you have to put some kind of value on
Yep.
it. That's interesting. And also how you grow, how you are growing the business, like what you mentioned recently. The last one is partnerships is very important. Collaborations is
Yeah.
what drives business for growth and scaling and beyond. So this is very important. And having affiliates also is something that you can basically set up for a low cost,
Yep.
which uh, which is some people getting the word out for what you are doing or your company or your business, and you basically giving them a cut for their influence on that. So this is also a good idea to grow that.
Yeah.
And YouTube, as you mentioned, you are on YouTube giving people advice, and then you have YouTube. Basically, it's free.
Yeah.
So it's just it involves your time and your company's time. So this is something that you can manage within the business. So these
Mhm.
things that can be combined together to do great job. So this is like not there is no business I think that have grown to millions on their own. There is either
No.
some people helping them, some people advising them, somebody help somebody else. It does not business does not grow millions by its own. That's
100%.
definitely the truth.
100%. And when you're an entrepreneur, let's say you're a little introverted, maybe you're a technical entrepreneur, you want to be coding, you got to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And you got, like you were just saying, you have to be building relationships. So I'm trying to meet with people, new people every week on Zoom. Unfortunately, these days post-COVID, like Zoom and Teams, there's other platforms too that are a lot easier to communicate with people. And yeah, you got to be building because you never know who can connect you with somebody else. A door can open, and next thing you know, you've got yourself a partnership lined up that can just send your business to the next stratosphere. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, definitely. So, Sean, can you add something here as a takeaway or a final tip for the Success Grid Nation?
If you're starting a business, the key takeaway, or you want to start a SaaS, it is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. But make it easier on yourself. Start with Figma and start talking to people. Get on Zoom calls, build a prototype, and walk them through. And if you can get some positive feedback on what you're creating, that might give yourself the green light. And at the same time, you're not putting a bunch of money into a platform like I did. You can actually get a better idea of what people are looking for without spending any money because Figma is pretty easy to figure out. So that's what I would do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Sean, where can people get in touch with you, learn more about you and about Ticker?
Yeah, go to tykr.com. It's tykr.com is the first place. Second place would be my LinkedIn. I'm really active. I'm on LinkedIn almost every day, Monday through Friday at least.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Sean, for being with me on this episode of the Success Grid podcast. Really encouraging and informative knowledge that you provided us with here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it, Hussein.